Hey, I'm here to talk about things that matter to CEOs. And today it's the most exciting topic I could possibly think of, insurance. And you're all going, yes. When I was the CEO, I thought insurance was not that important. I delegated it to other people, and I've since learned that that was not smart. So I'm here with David Wright to talk about insurance.
Yeah, so once again, David Wright, I run Silicon Valley Risk and Insurance Services. We, of course, think insurance is very important. We insure many high-tech firms here in Silicon Valley, and we want to make sure that our clients and our prospects are well taken care of with insurance.
Okay, so David, clearly you think it's important. I now realize it's important. Why should CEOs personally be paying attention to this?
Well, they are the stewards of their company. They have a fiduciary duty to their company. And so we want to make sure that they have an understanding of insurance, and they should have a personal interest in making sure that the assets of their companies are well protected.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, and I feel a little sheepish about my former attitude on this. Uh, Today, though, we're going to talk more specifically about one type of insurance that's relatively new and fast moving, and that's cybersecurity insurance. So, how long have you been in the cybersecurity business?
So the first cyber insurance product was about 15 years ago, and it's really evolved since then. And the policies today are so much broader than they were 15 years ago, which is a good thing, and it can also be a bad thing because now these policies are very complex, and you need to make sure that you have an advisor that can tell you the ins and outs of these
Mhm.
policies.
So, when you engage with a potential client to talk about cybersecurity insurance, what are the key things you look at in trying to figure out the right solution for your client?
Well, first of all, you have to understand what that client is doing. And so are they are they a software company, they're a hardware company? You have many different types of technology today where you need to make sure that the policy is customized to that individual client. So the policies are such that they are very customizable, and you have to make sure that the coverage you have will really cover your operational risks.
So I can imagine all sorts of things can go wrong that fit into the cybersecurity category. Can you tell us a story about a case in the recent times where cybersecurity insurance saved somebody's bacon?
Well, how about if I tell you about one that did not save their bacon? This was actually a huge case back in 2011. And this was the Sony PlayStation Network. And this was before cyber insurance was very popular. And so that they were hacked. They were down for 23 days. The total overall cost were $171 million. And they had no cyber insurance.
So when you get a policy, how does it work?
Well, you get a policy, and by the way, the cyber policies for the tech industry almost always include what we call technology errors and omissions. And that part of the policy is just as important because that is your software glitches. It's really what we call operational failure. And when you are a tech company and you're selling to another company, they're gonna want to make sure you have a good enough policy in case what you do causes them a loss when it comes to viruses or a cyber attack.
So that's a great point. I hadn't really thought about that part, but that really means that you can engage more fully with new partners and so on. What risks does cybersecurity coverage entail?
There are many different clauses on these policies. Certainly, you think about first party, right? You have you have an attack, your business is shut down for a period of days, hours, and so and if private information has been released, you're going to have remediation costs. You're going to hire a firm to deal with the crisis. These are all costs that are part of the policy. Another big part of the policy, which is something that's only been covered for the past 2 or 3 years, is what we call ransomware. So you're basically held hostage on your data, and you have to pay somebody to get your data back. And so you want to make sure that that is part of the coverage as well.
Okay. What's excluded from the cyber security policies?
Yeah, certainly there's going to be exclusions like all insurance policies do have, but you having to add software and other security measures to beef up your system, those costs generally are not covered under the policy.
Okay. And what's the process for deciding which policy to choose?
Well, first of all, you need to hire a very good advisor to recommend what is the best policy for you. All these policies are different. They all offer something that may or may not be appropriate for you, but we usually recommend a policy that actually has a risk assessment tool with it. There are a few insurance markets out there that will actually do a penetration test on you. So, and they will then do recommendations for you.
Okay. So obviously the best thing to start with is to reduce your exposure. What do you recommend in terms of steps to minimize cybersecurity exposure?
Well, either through the insurance company or another third party, you should get a risk assessment done. And those could be something that could cost a few $100s. It costs a few $1,000s, but getting a risk assessment done is probably the number one item to look at. And of course, then you have to implement it. And then you want to implement whatever tools, software is recommended to do that. And then the third is actually the insurance policy.
So that was really helpful. I think that gives us something to think about around cybersecurity insurance. Um, any parting words for the CEOs in the audience about how they should be thinking about cybersecurity insurance?
Well, this area is always evolving, and you got to make sure that your advisor is always up, is keeping up with all the trends in this whole area. I don't believe that this area of exposure is going to decrease. I think it's actually going to increase. So you want to make sure that your advisor is up to date on all the trends that are going on in the world right now.
Okay, those are great words. Thank you. And we'll see you again soon, I hope.
Thank you very much.